You're listening to Power Talk, Berkeley Electric Cooperative's official broadcast about the cooperative, our communities, and ways to use energy wisely. And now, let's join our hosts for today's episode. Good morning and welcome to Power Talk. This is Mike Aponte, the Communications and Media Specialist here at Berkeley Electric Cooperative, joined as always by Miss Libby Roig, the Director of Marketing and Communication.
Good morning, Micah.
Is it a good morning, Libby?
It is. It is.
It is not a good morning for me. I'm dragging a heavy load this morning, which is appropriate for the show, I guess. Given the topic, but
we've got two good talkers here, so
yeah, they can help me with my load control. Hopefully,
yes, we will.
Hope this coffee will hopefully help me with my load control.
We'll do our best.
Get a little bit of caffeinated, get a little bit of go juice, and hope we can get this thing going on down the road. Well, we did mention we do have some guests in studio. For those of you who are semi-regular listeners or watchers even, you might see some faces and hear some voices you recognize. We have Miss Loretta Moore, an energy specialist here at Berkeley Electric Cooperative, who has been a frequent guest on the show before.
Yes, good morning.
Good
It's
morning.
nice to be back.
Yep. And it had been more than a couple weeks, so we had to bring him back.
Yep.
Eddie Plowden, our basically our third co-host on the show.
The man, the myth, the legend.
And Director of Energy Services as well. Welcome to the show, Mr.
Glad
Eddie.
to be back. Let's talk peaks.
Peaks and loads.
Peaks and loads.
Peaks and loads.
What can we do to help our members?
Yes. So,
They
Eddie,
help us.
you now have 40 years serving the cooperative, almost half of the cooperative's existence.
Yes.
And Loretta, you've been with us five
Five
yeah,
years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
She came in with the COVID.
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
Came in with the COVID.
you're one of those.
Yeah. So it's fantastic. We have
Yeah.
an amazing team
Yeah,
though
great
here
team.
working
Yep.
together.
Yep. Well, speaking of teams, Berkeley Electric, Eddie's team helps make your house a home. We have 6 certified experts who can help make your home more efficient and more comfortable. We like to be comfortable while we're saving money. So today we're going to be talking about beating the peak and ways Berkeley Electric helps keep energy costs as low as possible for our members. But, it's summertime, it's hot, it's been hot. ACs are running around the clock, and many of us are having sticker shock when we're opening our bills.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
It's been high bills for sure.
Yeah. So, Loretta, can you walk us through what are the key drivers? What are those big users in our home? And why is it that our bills skyrocket when we don't change a single thing in our homes?
Okay, happy to. This time of year, most folks running that air conditioning, their HVAC is more than half their bill. Sometimes it could be up to 70% of their bill, depending on what other loads they have going on in the house. Even though you may not be changing your thermostat setting, the hotter it is outside, the more that unit's going to run. So, if you're keeping it set at 76 and it's 99 degrees outside, that unit's going to run a lot, even though you don't change it. So it just takes a lot to keep our houses cool this time of year and keep the humidity down as well.
Right.
One of the things that we talk about, and like Libby just mentioned, was, we want to keep you comfortable and also keep it affordable. Unfortunately, a lot of times those things don't necessarily go hand in hand.
Right.
So the more comfortable you are, sometimes you have to pay for that. And that's one of the discussions that I just had to have with my daughter recently because we were in their house. And I think she said that it doesn't move off 68 degrees right now in their home.
Nice.
And I was like, enjoy paying that bill. And she says, well, my partner's paying it, so I don't have to worry about it.
But despite whether you're willing to pay for that level of temperature setting, Eddie, it can cause moisture problems in your house if you have your thermostat set lower than 72.
Typically in our area, especially if you had a house with a crawl space, like Micah's house, running it very cold. If you could get your house that cold.
My house, no.
Because the wind blows through.
In the wintertime, I can get it that cold.
But, right now, if you get technical, but right now the dew point is about 75, 76 degrees. So any surface is that cold is actually going to condense moisture, just like a glass, you know. So, you have to be careful.
So, basically, I needed to go home and tell my wife that we need to bump our temperature up, because when I woke up this morning, my dog couldn't see out the window because it was foggy.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. A little bit too cool.
A little too. See, my house can get that cold. What do you know? Who knew?
So 78 is the recommended setting for efficiency, but for your unit to run effectively, 75 is a better setting.
Yeah, 73 to 75 probably is your low setting, and very good for your home. Put it that way.
But every degree you get off of 78, it's going to cost, on average, $10 more per month. So, if,
Yes.
so that 75 setting is going to cost you about $30 more per month in the average home. But when you get lower than 72, the system
Basically never
It's
shuts
running
off
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it can draw moisture into your home and cause
Condense
problems.
moisture in your home. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can cause
So that's why
problems.
we're going to talk about smart thermostats.
Yeah, we got a lot
That
of,
can be
lot of good stuff
we got a lot
to
of
cover.
stuff to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I
Sneak-
suggested the 78 to my daughter, she looked like I suggested a war crime. So,
Well, and we know in the South, it's the Bible, college football, and your thermostat. You don't tell anybody
To do anything
anything.
with any of those.
right. Well, I mean,
Touchy subjects.
we were talking about it. Eddie, like I said, everybody, your home's going to be running AC full blast each afternoon, almost guaranteed, simply just because of the temperature difference that we get down here in the low country. And that's going to be a lot of electricity passing across those lines. So what do we call that afternoon period in the summertime when we're using lots of energy for our homes and businesses? And how does our power grid sort of handle that load?
We call that a peak. It's a peak time, and Berkeley Electric Cooperative on a wholesale basis has to pay for that peak. So that's really related to the generation and how we have to pay for that cost of having generation. Of course, we do have the capacity to handle that load. We bill for it. We plan for it. But we also, Berkeley Electric Wholesale has to pay for it, just like you have to pay for your monthly bill when you're using a whole lot of power. So, we encourage our members to lower their use and lower the peak, especially during the peak hours. As a not-for-profit cooperative, we have to pay actually 79 cents per dollar on the wholesale cost. That doesn't pay for anything as far as employees or our fixed cost to serve
Just
our
the
members.
cost of the energy that we
Only
have
the
to
energy.
buy in order to pass it along to our members.
Right. So it's that's a very big cost for us. So we can work together with our members to try to lower that cost.
Yeah. So the good news is we invest in the physical structure, our grid here locally, and we've got lots of growth in the area, and our very smart friends in engineering are constantly working and monitoring and making long-term and short-term work plans to make sure the grid can withstand the demand that we're putting on it. But during that afternoon window of time, when all the ACs are humming, we're all getting home, turning on the oven, washing clothes, that's our peak window. And what hours are those?
In the summertime, it's from 3 to 6 p.m. and then the winter is 6 to 9 a.m. So think about hot afternoons. Right now, that's what's our peak.
Yeah. So it's when the temperatures are the hottest, so we try to encourage our members to flatten that peak, to avoid using energy during that time if they can, because we get charged more during that window, and because energy is basically a pass-through in our cooperative model, it can cost our members more in the long run.
And there must be some things that we're doing to try to help our members.
I would think so.
I think we should talk about that a little bit further.
Well, I mean, and I will say before we move on from that at least in my opinion, this time of year is a little bit easier for my lifestyle, at least, to avoid the peak, because most of us are working, until around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So by the time that we finally get home and start to, get ready for our evening meals and kids taking showers and yada, 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 it's most likely going to be close to 6 or past 6 o'clock. So we're out of that peak time. So it's a little easier to adjust your schedule to make sure that you go past that peak.
Yeah.
And I mean, just one of the things that we did in our household is we got a little magnet that we put on like the major appliances to remind us what the peak times are. So, if I go to start that dryer and it's 6 o'clock, hopefully I've got this little magnet staring me in the face and no, dummy, you'll pay more money.
Yes,
so
don't do that.
Right.
So, and Micah is on a different system than Berkeley Electric.
That is true.
So his energy provider charges more for use during that window.
A demand charge, yes.
Right. So Berkeley Electric does not charge more. We just, in the interest of being strategic and trying to keep costs low, have a variety of programs to help people avoid usage during that summer window and the winter window. When's the winter window?
It is from November through March.
Yeah, it's 6 to 9 in the morning.
Yeah, 6 to 9. And of course, we do have the time of day base rate,
right,
which our members can actually adapt, to it, move their loads around, just like Mike was talking about, and they can save money. So lots of members use technology to help with that.
Yes. And currently the summer period where we're worrying about that 3 to 6, when does that end? Month
goes
wise
through October.
Through October. Okay. So
April through October.
April through October. We just got to make sure that we try to kick it back just a little bit past 6 o'clock so we can avoid those peak times.
Yeah, and Micah, you're absolutely right. It's so much easier to kind of avoid the peak in the summertime, but I know in the wintertime,
everybody's getting up,
I'm getting
ready.
Up,
you got to get to work.
Heat's kicking on. I'm taking a shower,
cooking breakfast, the whole 9 yards. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but I mean, there are things that you can do.
Yeah. So we have an awareness program that you can sign up for called Beat the Peak. Which is what we're trying to do. So it sends you communication, a text message when we're expecting it to be really hot during the summer or in the winter during really cold days, just alerting us that day's peak is coming, and it'd be great if you could avoid using your big energy users in the house. So adjusting your thermostat a couple of degrees, or maybe don't run the clothes dryer or the dishwasher. There's no cost to sign up for Beat the Peak, no immediate incentive. It's just a really great educational tool to keep it kind of top of mind, like Micah's magnet on his fridge. So Loretta,
old school.
Yeah, low tech and high tech here. So Loretta, we have a couple of programs that members can sign up that help them beat the peak and have an incentive.
Right.
So can you tell us about our smart thermostat program?
Yes, I'd be happy to. We have a smart thermostat program. We've had it probably, I'm going to say 6 years, more or less.
Yeah.
You can get a free Wi-Fi thermostat from us. Additional ones, there is a cost for that, and that will enroll you in a load control program. You can also sign up. You may have a smart thermostat that would participate, so you can sign up. We call it bring your own device that way. With those devices, whether you bring your own or get it from us, when we have those peak days in the summer, it's typically 4 to 8 times a month, you'll get a notification that they're going to be adjusting your thermostat 3 to 4 degrees. Normally the adjustment is between 3 to 6. Once in a while it's 4 to 7, but that's pretty rare. If you participate in those while you're in the program for 60% of the time throughout the year, then you'll get a rebate or a credit on your bill. Anniversary time frame from when you enrolled, it's $50 for one thermostat. And if you have more than one and both of those meet it, or even if you have 3 or 4, you can get a $75 credit.
Nice.
So it's a great program. It does notify you, so you're not going to be hit off guard that that they're going to be doing it. Typically, it also will pre-cool the home a little bit before the event starts. So.
Yeah. And I participate in this program. I'm a proud member of Berkeley Electric, and I love my smart thermostat in general, and it's a wonderful tool to help control your usage.
Yes.
You can set up a schedule. It knows when you're away, and it'll bump the thermostat a couple of degrees to help save you some money. It's got all kinds of little tips and tricks.
Features.
Yeah.
You can put it in a vacation mode if you're going out of town. They all have an app. We're good about putting it in vacation mode, but I'm bad about setting it up before we leave the house, so I can do it from my phone in the car when we're leaving the house.
Same.
It'll also remind you, it's time to get your unit serviced, change your filter, and things like that. So it's a really good thing to have.
Yeah, I don't even worry about when it's time to change my filter because my thermostat tells me.
Yeah, just remind you.
Well, I mean, an important thing to know, too, is that you do not have to participate in the control events.
That's true.
So say if you got family over or you're doing something at that time and you get the, and it goes into that, the control mode.
Yes.
You have the option to opt out.
That's correct.
But like what Loretta was saying, you got to at least participate in 60% of those throughout the course of the year to be able to qualify for the credit.
Yes.
But you don't have to do it at all. That's just if you want the credit.
If you want the credit.
A lot of folks are like Libby said, the thermostat is sacred. That do not touch the thermostat. And I don't have one, so I need to know this as a dad. Can I lock people out through the app to keep them from changing the thermostat?
You can put a passcode on most of them.
Okay, see, all the dads out there are very happy now.
You can set it such that it can't, like for air conditioning, it won't go any lower than, let's say, 72. Even if they go and try to do it, you've got it set so it won't do that. So
like in the hotel,
features.
It makes you feel like you go into the hotel
and
it doesn't do it. You got to sit on 65 and you're still sweating in there. So
So
no, I mean, and that's like I said, that's a good thing because like when my daughter was at home, I'd go upstairs when she used to live at home, and it would be an ice box up there because she had changed the thermostat, and so I'd always have to rack it back up, and next time I went up there, it was racked back down again. So.
Yeah.
Having that lockout feature sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, after the passcode.
Well, talking about load control and stuff and the ways that we can help beat the peak, is there anything else that the co-op has, Eddie, that sort of looks at load on the system and ways to control it to keep costs down for everybody?
Certainly our water heater load control program, electric water heaters, we've had that really for 40 years, for our members. So it's a small program. Of course, we do have a warranty on electric water heaters also to try to, make sure they're, if it goes out, then we can change it out for you. So it's a great program.
So if somebody's interested in joining the water heater load control program, they contact us. How does we install a device? How does that work?
Yeah, they can install it, have sign up for the program, notify us they're interested, and we do have an application that the member will sign up, and then we'll have a technician, put a load control device on the water heater itself, and then we give like a $200 rebate, back to the member. It's going to be like an actual check. So.
Is that a one time or
one time?
Okay.
Yep. So.
Okay.
And then if you have a problem with your water heater, you can contact us. We can diagnose what's going on. And, of course, if you have a warranty, we'll take care of a repair.
So similar to the HVAC, water heaters are big power users. So, again, it's just another strategic effort of during those peak times, if we can control some appliances to help lower their usage, it benefits all the members.
Yes, it really does.
And I think it's important to note, too, that, first of all, we are an electric company, so we are talking about electric water heaters.
Yes.
There are some propane water heaters out there, so we are talking about electric water heaters only, and we're also talking about storage water heaters, the typical big tanks. We're not talking about instant water heaters like the tankless one time. We're not talking about those either. But, there are benefits to both, obviously, but at the end of the day, a tank storage heater is one of those technologies that's been around for a long time and it hadn't changed a whole lot because it's pretty efficient at the end of the day. It holds a good bit of water.
Normally a 92% efficiency,
right?
And certainly you can maintain that tank. It's cheaper to maintain that water heater. So look at changing out the. People don't talk about changing out the sacrificial anode rod, but that tank will last a whole lot longer if you have it drained and then change out the anode rod. Check that, make sure the thermostats and everything is working properly. So plumbers can do that for you.
And I think it's one of those things, unfortunately, with a lot of water heaters sort of out of sight, out of mind. So most people probably don't even know what their water heater is set on. They just trusted the plumber to set it up and set the temperature. And, sometimes it might be a little bit too high. So, I mean, you can make some adjustments to your water heater to lower the temperature. He doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but you can wrap your water heater up in a blanket
to make it a little bit more efficient.
Exactly.
And the pipes coming out, you can wrap them in insulation.
So we've talked about how members can sign up for Beat the Peak Alerts. This is just a informational program. We have our Smart Thermostat load control program where you can get a free smart thermostat and a rebate if you connect it to our load control program. And then the water heater program. Eddie, last but certainly not least, we have the time of day rate, which you referenced earlier, that members can sign up for. Now, this is voluntary.
Yes.
For residential members. How does time of day work? How do we know if it's a good fit?
It's a great program for somebody that wants to use, like we were talking about, the technology, using the smart thermostat. You can actually set up your smart thermostat so your schedule is a little bit warmer, during those peak hours, and the unit will use less power during that time period. Certainly it's going to drift up as far as temperature. But you can actually have a load control device on your water heater, have it cut off just during those 3 peak hours per day. Some of our members, about 1.5% of our members have solar PV, and they're looking at a lot of them are getting batteries. And so you can actually move the power use around in your home. You may have a pool, and you can put a timer on that so it doesn't run. So there's lots of members. Electric vehicle, if you have an electric car also, and a high driver, high mileage on electric vehicle, this is a great rate for your home. So using the technology, you can easily move power around and save on the rate and lower our peak. We're talking about today, trying to lower that peak.
Yeah. So the time of day rate is structured to where the kilowatt hour, that's your variable energy charge, changes throughout the day depending on whether it's peak hours or off peak hours. So it's, if you have an EV, an electric vehicle, for instance, you could get really cheap power if you want to charge off peak. And then, but you are going to be paying more on that peak.
Yeah. The on-peak cost is about almost 5 times as much as our off-peak rate. But the off-peak rate is about 40% less than our flat rate we have for everybody.
Right.
So it's a great strategy for somebody who can move the power around.
And talking about EVs, I mean, like technology-wise, back in the day, Berkeley Electric had an EV. To test out, back when they were first becoming popular, to see how it would affect our system and stuff. But we did learn, too, that, they have timers or ways that you can set up your electric vehicle so it won't charge unless it is on off-peak time. So you can program that as well. So, there's definitely ways that you can, use technology to help make sure that you don't end up on the peak, because it can happen very easily, and unfortunately, like you said, you do have to pay a higher rate, and because the rest of the time you're getting a significantly lower rate.
And I do need to put a plug in for our financing for electric vehicle charger. So if somebody is interested in getting an electric vehicle, please contact us. We'd be glad to help you with the time of day rate and also financing for a new charger for your home.
Yeah, and I think one thing too is if members are curious as to whether it's a good rate for them, they can give us a call and we can, run an analysis on how they've used electricity the past 12 months and let them know if it would be a good fit or not. Some folks think, oh, yeah, I can do this. And then they find out, oh, gosh, I'd be paying a lot more. I'm not doing as good as I thought I was going to be doing. So it's a good tool.
Yeah. But, Eddie referenced that some of our members who have solar panels at their property, that they're now adding battery, and they can discharge the battery during the peak times to further avoid that usage. But they like to pair up solar with time of day because the technology they have.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
And one of the more important things, I think, is when it comes to all of this, we talk about technology and we talk about, being aware of when you're using energy. I think one of the biggest things that we have that's available to members is through our Smart Hub app and through our Smart Hub payment portal is a really good way for members to be able to figure out when they're using energy and how they're using energy. So I mean, Smart Hub has all your usage information in there. So your daily and even hourly usage. You can set up alerts for, say, I don't want to use over X amount of kilowatts during the day. You can set up an alert and it'll ping you and give you a message and say, oh, by the way, you're getting close. Time to start, cutting off the oven or, delay that shower or something along those lines.
Just so you're not surprised, too.
Right.
Say your house's peak usage is 100 kilowatt hours on a day. You could set it at that level and you would get an alert. So that way, okay, it has been really cold outside. That heater's been running like crazy. My bill's going to be higher. Because I feel like that's the biggest thing is people just don't like surprises,
Right.
when they get their bill.
And that's another good thing about Smart Hub is that it can take that weather data and it can give you a graph of what the temperatures are throughout the month or the week. And then you'll see how your energy usage in your home reacts to the weather outside. So, I mean, like we sort of talked about earlier, yeah, you might not have touched that thermostat. And when it was 80 degrees outside and you had it set on 75, that's not a big deal.
Yeah,
but now that we're up to close to 105, your unit is having to run so much longer. And it's
not shutting off.
It's not shutting off. And I mean, we've also got a little bit of even newer technology that is integrated in the Smart Hub, Eddie, don't we? That will help members get a better picture of how they're using electricity in their home.
Through the Smart Hub, you can look at, we call it Vigily. It's basically can break down your use. You can look at actually your comparison of previous months and then by appliance. What is driving your power bills? What is the key appliance that's driving your power bills? And look at it. Great tool.
But
and it gives you comparisons also.
Yeah, to set up, make sure if you're going to look at that visually, go in and set up your home profile. It maybe take 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty
just
detailed.
to answer some questions about your home, like how old your heating and air equipment is. Do I have electric water heater or a gas water heater? Pool pump, and put all that stuff in there, and then it'll tailor it more specifically to your home.
So, Eddie, what if somebody, technology, schmechnology, they don't want to deal with, gadgets. Is there a human touch to controlling your energy usage at Berkeley Electric?
Well, your thermostat, you can actually push that down. So.
Or do you have energy auditors maybe?
We'd be glad to talk to our members about energy audits from that standpoint. So. Where's the other street? No, we do, obviously we care about our members so much about high bills, and we do on the proactive high bills. Loretta and team, do a fantastic job of advising members based on their energy use, and it's just, we care so much about our members and trying to keep their bills down, and don't be surprised or if you get a call from us and saying your bill is really high and this is why, and we want to help you.
Yeah, I think a lot of members are shocked when we do that because I don't think most utilities offer that.
No, this is actually a program that Eddie Plowden developed.
Yeah, and it really can help them, alert them. Many times we can say, on June 15th, your usage went from 40 kilowatts that day to 120.
Yeah.
And they can really kind of pinpoint and go correct whatever may have been causing that before it just kind of lingers on and on and on.
Yeah.
So it's a great program.
And one of the things, too, real quick before we wrap up, Eddie, I know we're talking about heating and cooling and load on the system, but one of the things that we talked about was, your cooling is going to be one of your biggest costs. And as your HVAC unit gets a little bit older, it's not as efficient, and each year they seem to be coming out with something that's got a SEER rating on your HVAC unit. So what is the current SEER rating and that they recommend, and sort of how does that help your home?
I mean, it's definitely, cheaper in the long run to try to maintain that unit, keep the efficiency going as much as possible. But if you're having problems with the refrigerant is leaking or having problems,
it's reached end of life. A lot of them do.
But you talk about like a $10,000 project to change out a unit. So, but the efficiency now is like 15.2, and that's basically 15 BTUs per watt of energy. And the higher that number is, the more efficient that unit is going to be.
Right. So, I just remember when we first moved into the house, we had, I think it was a 10 SEER back at the time, and it died like 2 months after we were in the house. As soon as the heat of summer hit, it was an older unit. And that's when obviously they put extra strain on it. Your unit has a tendency to die. And then when we got, I think it was maybe a 12 to 14 SEER or something, it was several steps up. Noticed that our bill actually did go down some. And so, I mean, they can pay for themselves over time in a relatively quick fashion. But it's just something to consider if your unit's getting older. But like you said, let's try to keep those things. They're expensive. Keep them running. Get those yearly at least inspections to make sure everything's good to go.
And then, new units are basically almost twice as efficient as that 10.
Right.
Now. So you're using, half the amount of energy per cooling.
Awesome.
All right. Well, for more information about any of these programs, you can go to berkeley-electric.coop or follow us on any of our social media channels. And, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of Power Talk. This is the official broadcast of your electric cooperative, and you can catch up on past episodes on streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. And, as always, get a behind-the-scenes look on Berkeley Electric's YouTube channel. So until next time, this is Power Talk, signing off.